cool outside. It's a little windy, but I wanted to talk about mental illness, in particularly depression. Now, everybody goes through some type of depression, and it doesn't mean that you need to be diagnosed and all of a sudden start taking whatever pill they have to make you believe that that will make you stop being depressed, to raise your serotonin levels. You know what I'm saying? The purple pill. It means you have to do something different in your life. And that includes, ingesting certain things. There could be some plants, you know. I mean, if you start deconstructing some of the pharmaceutical uh, big products that are being out there, you'll start noticing that most of it is plant based. However, most people aren't going to do that. Let me say this. Let me talk about one of my experience with depression, because you don't know that you have it until it actually hits you. And when it does, it hits you like a ton of bricks. Okay? And does it or can it stop your forward momentum? Absolutely. Not only can or does it stop your forward momentum, it can take you off the planet, because you're convinced you're convinced that your situation uh, might not get better, and in some cases it doesn't. You know, some cases your situation might not get better, even though on the outside it seems okay. Now, of course, temporary depression is, you're not mentally ill. It's just something happened, somebody passed on, somebody moved on, um, you lost a job, you lost a bet, something happened where there is basically something in your life, a staple in your life that is being taken away from you. This causes your mood to, you know, causes you to be depressed. You know, some people take it in different ways. However, when you're mentally ill, it's that depression lasts longer than usual. And who are we to say what is the normal, you know, what is the statistical normal, what is the, you know, standard deviation for normal depression? Standard deviation for an adult 18 to 30 depressed over, a single event of losing their job they had for, you know, X amount of time is 2 weeks. It just doesn't work like that. Everybody's affected different. Everybody, uh, the mind is affected different. Loss of a loved one, you know, grandmama passed away. She was always there from the beginning, loving you. Your dog, your cat, you guys get the point. There is no standard deviation for depression. However, if you are depressed for an abnormal amount of time, or what people would deem abnormal, this is when they would start saying that you're mentally ill and depression is the cause. And the caveat for your depression was the loss of your job. I'm talking about that particular scenario because it happened to me. And the loss of, someone who moved on from my life. That happened to me too. That caused me to go into not only but depression but panic attacks. So every time I saw this person, I would have a panic attack, you know. And even when I talked to him on the phone, I would have a panic attack. So it just, I was so glued to that individual. But when they decided, not to be with me, I suffered some type of, uh, I don't know, departure depression. It just hit me. And there were some things that were added on to that too. Uh, you know, um, a loss of life was also added into that. And that caused me to also, it triggered, me, all those feelings piled up into that whole relationship. And it just caused me to, have all these feelings towards this person when I saw her or when I talked to her. But eventually I got past it. But nonetheless, as far as the loss of job is concerned, when I lost my job, this was many years ago. When I lost my job, I was in my 30s, really striving to. Okay, let me say this. I dated a lot. I had a lot of women that dated me because of the way I looked. Believe it or not, I didn't always have this booth on, but I was athletic. I worked downtown in this city. A single man, working downtown in a suit and tie. They think you have money, and when they find out you're just a temporary, you don't have a stable job. Some women will date you, but they won't date you seriously. They'll play around with you. They'll sleep with you, but they won't. They may even love you, but what they won't do is date just you. They'll always have somebody else. And marriage may be tossed around, but they're going to cheat on you because one, your finances, and two, because that's just what they do. But nonetheless, when you get ones that are serious and you start looking at, do you have your act together in order to afford a family? Well, when you're working with in temporary services and they're just firing you left and right for things that you can't help, then the answer is no. You bring a baby into the world, things is gonna get rough. It's gonna get hard. So all these things piled up constantly happening to you. Constantly. It's just a never ending flow of depressing events that just keep happening to you. You know. Then finally you get a job and you're like, yeah, this is gonna be the one. I'm finally gonna, you know, pays whatever.
That's what my mom used to
It
tell me.
pays,
I think that's
you
why
know,
I'm such a real nigga.
back then, I don't know, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, but it paid 14, 15. It paid enough to where you can start raising a family. You can start affording one. And it was stable, you know. But then, you get fired again. And it's like, I got fired and I just, I could not hang on to a decent job. And racism was involved in that. People were intimidated by the way I looked, and I just don't belong in an office. I don't even fight for that anymore. I'm tired of it. I don't like the backstabbing. I don't like potluck. I don't belong there, fine. I get it. You guys don't like the way I look. I don't belong there. So I don't even knock on those doors really anymore. I do contract work. I'm here today, I'm gone. But nonetheless, the reality of that after years and years, and then the women leaving you, and all these desires that you have to be a family man, and it's just not working out, I fell into depression. And it was an abnormal amount of time. When it hit me, uh, I was dating then, some chick who was, one of those, goofy women. But I didn't even want to talk to her. I just stopped talking to her. And I would lay in bed. I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to have sex. I didn't want to nothing. My systems were shutting down. I didn't want to go running, which is my, a love and passion that I had until I couldn't run anymore. I didn't want to work out. I didn't want to sing, play guitar, do anything right, nothing. I didn't want to nothing. And I would wake up every day and say out loud to myself, what are you going to do today? And then I would answer myself, the same thing I did yesterday. And I did this for months. And I was able to do it. For one, I was on rental and welfare, which is the transition was happening. It was like a metamorphosis of reality. It was changing me. And my mind, the mind is very fragile for one. It's not so much the ego, it's the mind itself. But my mind did not want to suffer any more of those depressing, uh, you know, feelings. Go to this job, you look good here, women find out that you're just a temp, they walk away from you. You have all the qualifications for this job, you're here for a minute, they get rid of you. People talking down to you like you're, some, slave or beneath them. And you're trying to hold on to these jobs because you need to pay your rent. And no matter what, they just keep kicking you back you know, to the bottom. And you know you're worth more. And I'm talented. I'm very talented. And I'm gifted. And those gifts I wasn't using to the fullest extent. But nonetheless, so I didn't want to do anything. And then finally, I start feeling better one day. I called my so called girlfriend. She was like, "Oh, so you finally surfaced." You know, went to see her and stuff like that. She only lived down the street, or I'd tell her to come see me, pick me up, or whatever. I start looking for work again, but I started doing contract jobs. I started doing jobs where I didn't wear a suit and tie. I realized that they didn't want me there. Black, white people, it didn't matter. They just did not want me in those offices. Those good jobs, I was not allowed to have. And it hurts. But I said, okay. So I went on Craigslist and I started looking around on there and found brand ambassador work, and then I started doing that. I still do it every now and then, but it really hurts to do it now because it's a car accident. But nonetheless, so I started doing that, and I ran into some knuckleheads doing that too. But that work is hard on your body too because you stand for a long time. But nonetheless, I started getting things done. I started getting revenue. I started getting money, and I enjoyed it for the most part. Some of the people I didn't like, but I enjoyed it. I started making money. I even tried to open my own business, a flooring business. I started trying to use talent to feed myself, you know. But you know, I also had wrote a little novella, a little book called The Sorrowed King. Just you know, I started doing more than I was. I stopped beating down the same doors I've been beating on for years and saying, "Let me in, let me in," and they're not gonna let me in. They're still not gonna let me in. I have, mad qualifications, but when you get into these doors, they're so intimidated by your presence they want to usher you out. Now some people are like, oh, that doesn't happen to me, I'm black, and yeah, 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 yeah. I'm like, well, you're not me. I know what I'm going through. But depression woke me up. It hurt like heck, but it woke me up. But I went through it. So, you know, I didn't have any thoughts of leaving the planet anytime soon. Like, I didn't want to end my life, but I did want to end the cycle. You know, I wanted to wear a suit and tie so bad. I wanted to be the man. I just didn't belong there. I don't belong there. You know, I belong somewhere else, doing something else. Nonetheless, eventually, I got it together. Still went through some hard times, some depressing times. I lived a very, I don't know, but I'm just saying, I had been depressed before that and after that, but there was nothing like when that depression happened. And I'm still alive. So for those of you who are going through that, you know, don't think about, you know, doing yourself harm in any kind of way. The truth is, you're going through a change, some type of metamorphosis. And when you come out of that, you're going to start looking at the world differently. You keep doing something, what is the saying? You keep doing something over and over again. It's insane. Getting the same results, insane or whatever. Try something different. That's what I did. I tried a whole lot of things. I was getting money too. I showed my family how to do it too. I was like, because I got younger sisters. Both of them at one point had called me and I don't have no money. I was like, well, let me show you how to get money. So, I showed them, you know. They went from having no money to having several $100s in their pocket within a short time, legally, by doing marketing and promotions. So, when you need a quick dollar, that's what you do. My body is worn out, though. I can't do the promotions like I want. There's a lot of promotions going on right now, but standing those long hours hurts. At any rate, so yeah, don't do yourself any harm. Just change. You might have to downsize. Downsize. You might have to walk, walk, catch the bus, learn the bus systems. Had to do all that. Got in a car crash, and then my other car broke down, and I had no job. Still got to go to the grocery store. I walked. Saying I still got things to do. You got to catch the bus. You still got to, this thing's got to happen and make it work for you. But don't do yourself any harm. You know, get rid of people who are around you who are telling you that, you know, you ain't nothing. Get rid of them. You know, when I realized that my back was so jacked up that I couldn't do the work I used to, I was at home feeling depressed, you know, not making any money, selling my items just to pay my rent. I said, I'm no good anymore. I'm no good to anyone. And the Lord said to me, He said, the Lord said, well, you're still good to me. He's like, I could use what you got. You know what I'm saying? So every now and then I hold my Jesus Save sign out and let people know Jesus saves. So, yeah, mental illness is real. You don't always need a purple pill. I didn't take any medicine. Um, but every now and then I still slip into it, but I don't. Some days, man, some days I just lay there. I'm not going to lie. Some days it's not easy to get up. It's not easy to get up and, look this good. No, no, but some days it's not easy to get up. It's just not. Because for one, it hurts physically. And for two, it's just a mental struggle. You know? But what you need to do is have something to look forward to. That helps. Go to the gym, going swimming, going to Kroger's. I like going to there's a nice Kroger's up the street. I look forward to going to that Kroger's. When I get a little extra, lunch money, I like going up there to that Kroger's. Cause they got all kind of great like lunch sandwiches. So I go up there and just mill around. Yeah. Going swimming, getting exercise is good. I'm all right, sir. How are you? So getting exercise is good. You did, sir. Yes, you did. I don't know your name though. Mike. Pleased to meet you. You're who's dad? Yeah, yeah, little Steve. I know you're the grandfather, but who's your child? The daughter. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Cool grandparent. But anyway, have something to look forward to. Grandkids. If you live alone, just make something. Hey, what's going on, young man? Make something to look forward to. Get a project. Build something. There is nothing like building something for a person who's depressed. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like drawing something and then seeing it come to fruition. Build something. I don't care if it's with Legos. Let's look at it and build it and be like, things like that will help your serotonin levels. You know, go fishing. Go look at some wildlife. Go bird watching. Go to a track meet. You want to get an adrenaline rush, go to a track meet and watch those youngsters run until they throw up. And the energy that they put out, just watch it. It's just amazing. The output of, you know, energy that they're putting out, just running just to, even the person in last place, just gotta get to the finish line. Just that tenacity. Go to a bar and watch the game. Do something. Get out the house is the point. Even if you don't like people, you don't have to like people. You love nature. Go for a walk in the woods. Go for a run in the woods. Heck, go live in the woods. I used to go to a cabin. I used to go and rent a cabin every now and then. Anyway, so I'm gonna go. But is it still gonna come after you? Yes, it is. But it doesn't have to consume you. It's your boy Toto. What's going on, Steve?